we just got done talking about a UK serial killer that could have possibly had an overbearing mom. Well, here's another one that I think it's really important that we point out. There could be an overbearing parent or parents situation in this as well. And there is some really wild correlations to the Alexee Trevizo case, okay? This is Alexis Avila, A-V-I-L-A, okay? 18-year-old girl. This year, or last year, January 7th of 2022, the girl who, and you guys will probably know who I'm talking about after you hear this, the girl who threw her baby in the trash can.
You mean the dumpster?
The dumpster.
By the mall?
Yep.
Yeah, so this also happened in New Mexico. Same as Alexee Trevizo.
I know. It is seriously wild.
Is it Trevizo or Trevizo? I think it's Trevizo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So normally those Z and L's, even Avila, I think it's supposed to be Alexis Avila. Avila. Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, like the connections here are crazy,
really
dude.
Weird.
They're both Hispanic families. They both have really overbearing moms, where you have Alexee Trevizo, who said multiple times that, you know, she was worried the mom was there the whole time, to the point where the officers were asking her to leave, and it was like super awkward trying to get her to leave, and you could tell through that footage that she was up in her business all the time. Then you have Alexis, who threw her baby in the dumpster, and she said one of the main reasons that she didn't say anything was that she was afraid her mother would hate her. Okay? That blows my mind. You're afraid that your mom will hate you, so that is worth ending a life? You know?
You got me. I don't understand it at all. I don't.
Well,
it's a safe haven state, for one.
Yeah.
You can drop baby off anywhere. Like, if you were going to drop it in a dumpster, why don't you just drop it off at the hospital, the police station, or the fire station?
Yep.
What? Also, you can go to Planned Parenthood and get a totally private abortion, and no one ever has to know.
Yep.
Because they keep it private. Like, New Mexico has the best laws for this kind of things.
They do.
It's the most wide open, anyway. I don't know if I'd say best, but most wide open.
Yep, and they give you 90 days to drop the child off at any time. So any time after the pregnancy of 90 days, if there's something where you're unhappy or whatever, you have the ability to go drop this child off. So,
what?
Yep, 90 days before it's like... Not anybody in the world. I can't just take a 3-year-old and be like, hey, I tried being a parent for 3 years. I'm just not digging it. Here you go. Like, that's not how that works. So,
right. It has to be like a newborn baby.
Yeah. And, well, in New Mexico, you have 90 days.
Okay.
To literally just drop it off. Scot-free.
Yeah.
So, I looked into it because of this. So.
Yeah.
All right. The story. Right? So this was in New Mexico, like you were saying, the same as Alexee Trevizo. So on the night of January 7th, 2022, 3 Good Samaritans found an infant in Hobbs, a city of around 40,000 people, so not that big of a city.
Yeah, they were dumpster diving.
In southeastern part of the state, right at around 7 o'clock-ish. So, have you heard the 911 call?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, he is so disturbed. So these 3 people, like you said, had gone dumpster diving behind the mall. And if you guys don't know, like, I'll post a picture here, but if you go behind any mall, there is a rack of dumpsters back there. Always a rack of dumpsters, okay? And at the mall, I worked at a retail store at one time. A lot of times product really does get thrown away back there. You're given a certain amount of shrink in that store, and if something is broken or something's not right, or it could be literally the tiniest little dot in there, they can mark it out and throw it away. So it makes sense they went dumpster diving back there. Well, It was 2 men and a woman, and it was Michael, Hector, and April. And when they pulled up there, the woman stayed in the truck. The 2 men got out to work through this trash together, and they were using a system where they were grabbing one bag, checking it, and throwing it into the next dumpster to make sure they got through everything, okay? Well, while they're doing this and they're both in the dumpster, like... And think about this, in the dumpster, stepping on all these bags, walking over trash and everything, they kept hearing this noise of like a high-pitched whine, squeal, cry, something like that, right? And one of them gave a statement saying that they thought it was a cat, okay? And they kept doing their thing, looked around a little bit, thought it was a cat, kept doing their thing, moving on their way. Well, they get down to the bottom area, okay, in one of the corners of the trash can, and realize this noise is coming from this bag, this specific bag. So they grab the bag and set it outside the dumpster because they're in the dumpster there. Just set it right outside. Now, the girl hears the cry, I'm sure because the moving and everything else, the crying got louder, more, whatever. Yep. She gets out of the truck, comes over to the bag, okay? This is how the bag is placed. It is a black trash bag with another bag inside of it, and then a hair tie like banded around the top. Well, the girl, what was her, April, got out, opened it up, and realized, oh my God,
it's a baby.
It's a baby. Okay, it is a baby that is alive. It is a baby that is in a wet towel in the middle of winter in New Mexico in 30-degree weather, okay? Yeah. And right away, she scoops the baby up, goes into like protector mode, trying to take care of the baby, whatever. She said she takes off the wet towel and feels how cold this baby is and tries to warm him up. She puts him in her jacket.
She puts him in her shirt, like skin to skin.
Yeah. To try and warm him up and immediately get on the phone. Now, this 911 call, you guys, for me, it was really hard to listen to because you can tell how distraught he is. I don't remember which man it was on the phone, but like, you know, ring, 911, they pick it up. Hey, what's your emergency? And he was like, oh my God, we found a baby in the dumpster. And she says, okay, well, where are you? And he...
Hello, 911?
Yes, we just found a baby in the trash behind what is this? Damn, can't think straight. The hogs, what's the Hey, Clifford, where we at? The mall. Hogs, the Broadway. Behind we're behind Hogs Mall.
Okay, I'm showing you 1218 North Third.
Okay, we have just found an infant child.
Is it breathing?
Yes, ma'am.
He can't remember the name.
Where he is.
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't know.
Has no idea. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm just drawing a blank. My mind's going crazy, you know, and literally can't come up with it. Like, that's how distraught he is.
Yeah.
For thinking he was just having a normal night at dumpster diving, finding some cool stuff, and finding a baby instead.
He's probably also thinking we were in there the whole time, hearing that, stepping around in there, and a freaking baby in there, like, freezing to death. Like,
I would be spooked out, too. Like, I really hope I didn't step on this bag, or, yeah. Absolutely. But they did the right thing here, which was incredible. Immediately called 911. This lady
and
immediately...
took care of the baby.
Yeah, immediately put the baby... under her jacket and shirt to try and get it warm, which is the best thing she could have done. Yeah. Literally the best thing she could have done. So they said on the 911 call that the umbilical cord was still attached, you guys. And there was blood all over this blanket. And while they're on the phone with 911, the cops get there and they say, you know, we'll let you go, whatever, so you can talk to the cops. And then there's video cam footage of the cops and them figuring it out and working together. The baby gets sent to the hospital. And, you know, side note, the baby ends up living, okay? And living a normal child's life from everything that I was able to see. So back to the story, though. The cop starts going into investigation mode and starts looking around, right? I think most people would assume that malls have cameras because they're targeted always for crimes, break-ins, theft, everything,
Yeah, they have cameras
dude.
all over the mall.
Yep.
Always on the outside.
Yep. Well, this one specifically did too, and there's a store that had a camera like the most perfect shot on these dumpsters, dude. You couldn't have a better shot. Like, the dumpster that the baby was found in was the center of this shot,
Yeah,
okay?
it was.
And the store's name was like Riggs Outfitters. Riggs Outfitters. But anyways, the police immediately reached out to him and said, hey, we need to see your footage. The owner literally says that he thought it was about a robbery, like a break-in, whatever happened to his store, and the police were like, no, it's not that, so he agrees to meet the next day and go over it with the police there. And he's telling the story, and they pull it up, and the police verify they can get the image, and that the shot's good, and the guy's like, what are we looking for? And I guess the cops didn't tell him at first, and they said, well, we're looking for a black trash bag. And through everything the guy has picked up, he connected the dots and was like, don't tell me we're looking for a kid, and he starts tearing up and everything. Like, just the thought and the image of somebody throwing a baby away in the trash, it got everybody messed up in this situation.
What's worse,
all the cops, this guy.
I know. And what's worse is he talks about, I saw him talk about how through the security footage, you see her throw the baby in the trash, and then everybody throughout the day throwing trash on top of the baby.
I had that down here in my notes too, and that is crazy because it was literally 5 hours, you guys. So they picked her up at 2 p.m., throwing this child away. And I'm not talking about, it wasn't like this. Like, lightly setting this child. She literally throws it over the top, hucks it.
She had no
concern whatsoever.
concern.
Zero, zip, nada, nothing. And I'm glad she was not smart enough to do it somewhere where there's no cameras. I'm glad she got caught. I'm glad that it was done at the mall where people wanted to dumpster dive. Like, this is fate, dude. This is karma. This is fate. And luckily, this baby was saved, okay?
I know.
Through the footage, they were able to identify the car through the plate. They were able to see this white car pull up to 3 dumpsters, you guys. Now, they saw the woman get out of the driver's side front door driving, right? And then move to the driver's side rear door where they can see her with her head in there and everything. And then grabbing this black trash bag and hucking it in there. And they were able to get the license plate, identify the address and the person who it was. And they identified that the car belonged to an 18-year-old Alexis Avila, one of those two. Avila. So the cops go to the house as soon as they have this information. All right, so the police are at the door, and her mom and her dad actually answer the door, okay? And they say that she's been sleeping all day, and she's asleep right now, that she had pains and whatever. She's been out of work, and the cop lets them know, like, this is serious. This is what's going on, okay? And the mom finally agrees to bring her down to the police station. So the next thing we see, and they have all the interrogation footage online. And I gotta tell you guys, like, I've watched a lot of interrogation footage because the psychological aspects of it really interest me. I like to see how people work. I also love to see really great interrogators and detectives. It reminds me of like a sales approach, it's very calculated, analytical, steps 1 through 50, and it's all done in conversation and body language. So this guy was good, okay? He came in there, super friendly, got her to start talking, got more harsh at the times that he needed to, but she ended up, like, giving him pretty much everything that they needed. It's funny because it started off with... I have it here. So it started off with her saying that she didn't know she was pregnant or just found out the day before, okay? And the cop finds out pretty quickly that ends up not being the case, that she actually had been tested 3 separate times. So the day before, like she said, okay? So then in August, at another doctor's appointment, where she proceeds to tell the cop, so, like, I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? And the cop, the interrogator's like, yeah, I know what you mean, but what does that mean? I knew, but I didn't know? That just means that...
You were in denial?
Yeah, you knew, but you're so afraid of your image or your parents that you pretended that didn't happen. You chose to be in denial and pretend that you didn't get that test, you know? And then she even did a TikTok, what's it called, thing that goes around, whatever, like a TikTok test, TikTok challenge, where she got 2 pregnancy tests and her lawyers say one was positive and one was negative. So, like, dude, there was a lot of different times where she should have been like, whoa, something's up here, you know?
She knew.
Maybe she chose to be in denial. It doesn't change the accountability around it. Like, you still had the test. You still chose to ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, whatever.
No, you chose to put a baby in the dumpster. I don't even care if you knew. You could have not known the whole time.
The
fact that you put the baby in the dumpster is the problem.
And the important part here, too, is not only that she put the baby in the dumpster, because do I think that pregnancy hormones can make people crazy to where they make really bad decisions while their brain is flooded with these endorphins and hormones? Absolutely. We see it all the time with what's it called? The post-birth psychosis or whatever.
It's postpartum psychosis.
Postpartum psychosis. So that's a real thing. It really happens. But she had 5 additional hours to change her mind.
Also,
to go back.
Postpartum psychosis doesn't hit immediately after birth.
Right, it's after, yeah.
It takes a while. It's the
after they come down.
It's the come down, yes.
Yep.
Usually, yeah.
And then she also tells the cop that she never told anyone, that nobody knew about it. And the cop actually came with his guns and already had, not literal guns obviously, but had already talked to someone who confirmed that she knew.
Yeah.
So she claims she didn't know this person. It's just lying after lying after lying after lying. And it's very interesting the comments she makes, okay? And we'll go into the overbearing parent part. But she says in here that she couldn't tell anybody. She was afraid her mom would hate her forever. And I'm pretty sure those are the exact words she used, which I thought was very interesting. And then she goes on to say, you know, I didn't realize I was having a baby. I thought something was going on with my stomach and my back. I have an injury to my back. And I thought I needed to poop. So I went to the bathroom. Then all of a sudden, it was there in the toilet. Real disconnecting language, which they point out in that video. But she was like, then I picked up my phone to call my mom, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. What do you guys think about that? Like,
you just couldn't?
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless if you could or couldn't, you could have went to a hospital.
You could have went to a hospital. You could have kept the kid. You could have changed your mind. You could have dropped it off somewhere. Like, you had a ton of options. But the option that you chose
was something that could kill it.
Was something that could kill it. And what...
Well, then she finds out it's still alive. He tells her.
I know. And her response is
weird.
Yeah. Well, if it's alive, I want it. I was like, dude, come on.
What?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how can you dump your baby in a dumpster, leave it for dead, and the cops are like, well, we found it and it's alive, and you're like, okay, give it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
really gonna give it to you. It makes me wonder, what is her disconnect? Like, what is her disconnect to reality?
This is the whole point of this, okay? So many people have speculated about Alexee Trevizo. And if she knew, okay, we don't have confirmation she knew, but if she knew, what was the reason, what was the motive for doing this in this way, okay? And a lot of people believe it's her overbearing mom, not giving her the room and space to grow as an adult, learn how to make adult decisions on your own 2 feet, standing alone, okay? And I looked up signs of an overbearing parent when I was looking into this, and like they align. You'll exhaust your child. They will never know what natural consequences are. Creativity will be discouraged. They'll be anxious about everything. They will hyper analyze and fear mistakes. They'll have an increase in mental issues, problems, anxiety, stress, the increased likelihood of having like bipolar, schizo or disorders or whatever. That's interesting. That's all really interesting stuff. And a lot of those you can actually tie into both of these situations. There's that happy medium with parenting where you gotta let your kids make mistakes. You just can't let them make fatal mistakes. But like, if your kid is making a decision to do something and you know, because you have a fully formed frontal lobe and you understand life and you have some lived experience and you see they're about to get hurt and it's not a serious hurt, I mean, it's probably smart to let them feel those consequences.
Yeah, let them learn from their mistakes, for sure. Let them fall down, and get hurt and then find out. In
a safe way.
Yeah, in a guided way, so that it's never at the point where they're risking their life or another's life or some kind of extreme harm.
Yeah. And it says, children may feel pressure to conform to parental authority, resulting in emotional insecurity and dependence on the parent that can follow them through adulthood. Possible effects of controlling parenting on a child include childhood anxiety, depression, and mistakes. Wild, right? And there's so many correlation to hear between these two cases. And you know what's funny? And I
mean, they both put them in trash. Both of them put them in trash.
Annie Elise made this comment because I saw she posted a video on this topic, or on her podcast or whatever. But so Alexee Trevizo's mom, do you guys remember this in the footage, saying, don't you know about the girls who do this to their baby and they go to jail? She went to jail right around the same time. Alexis Avila went to jail right before the Alexee Trevizo situation. So more than likely, she's literally talking about Alexis Avila.
You're getting their names mixed up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she is talking about her, and I do think it's a bit weird that she almost knew this might happen and said, remember, I told you about this. What, you were afraid your daughter was going to throw a baby in the trash? That's a weird thing to worry about.
I hear you.
If you feel like you're parenting your child good, I would think you would think that they would not throw their baby in the trash.
Yep.
It's a weird thing that you already told her about to not do. Like, hey, see that girl throwing her baby in the dumpster? You don't do that.
It's a very weird thing. That's one of those common sense things that if you raised your child to make smart decisions, that's human life. Like any human life, you guys, is valuable. So I feel like that's not something you need to tell an 18-year-old. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe being like, oh my gosh, did you see that story about the girl? Like, oh my gosh, like, that's horrible, isn't it? Like, talking about it like that, I guess, is one thing. But saying, like, you see her, don't do that. This is what it sounded like.
And look, I agree. And look, for parents out there, mistakes happen. They happen. And, you know, kids are going to make mistakes. And you might end up having a kid that could get pregnant. Now, you know, cross your fingers, knock on wood, pray, do whatever you need to do to hope that that doesn't happen at that age because it's such a young age. But
they need to feel safe.
I would just check in with yourself, you know, like I'm going to, about, am I creating an atmosphere where my kid could feel comfortable bringing this problem to me instead of trying to get rid of the child themselves and end themselves, or a situation where they literally, this girl lost her life, okay? Yeah. 20 years in jail, gone. Will not have a successful career after this, or highly unlikely to have a successful career after this. She lost most of her adult life, the 20s and 30s, okay? That's a serious part to lose.
It is. Incredibly serious.
I would love to know what you guys think about the helicopter parent, the overbearing parent, the mother, and the wild connections between these two cases, being in the same state, being so similar, having a very similar parental at-home life setup.
Very similar first names.
Yeah.
Alexis, that's her name, right?
Yep. Alexee Trevizo and Alexis Avila.
Yeah, I'm talking about Alexis. I know Alexee's name. Her baby is with the father.
Who didn't know.
But she also accused him of being an abuser. And that's why they broke up. And then he ended up swooping in with his family and being like, I want the baby. And he's like taking really good care of the child.
Yeah, no, the baby is thriving, you guys. Absolutely. And I do think there's some evidence there that he might have had made a mistake in that, because there is a 911 call where you can hear him yelling in the background and stuff, and she's acting crazy too. So I don't know if it's a situation where Alexis, came at him and then he like pushed her off him, but there was some kind of contact there. So that fault doesn't have anything to do with it. When this guy chose to step up and he says he didn't know, Alexis says that he didn't know, so I think he really didn't know and they were broken up or whatever. He stepped in and said, look, I want this child. Like, I'll never forgive her. And he made statements saying, I will never forgive her ever, period, ever again.
Which I understand.
But I want the child. And she tried to get rights for the kid while in prison and all this stuff, you guys. But here's the thing. This kid isn't going to know her. She not only almost murdered this child, but she left this child with not having another parent for their entire, but when she gets out, the child's going to be a year or 2 years away from being 18, like being an adult.
Yeah, like the age she was when she tried to kill it.
Yeah.
Him, it's a him.
Yes.
So, yeah.
This blew me away. So again, like for you guys that have watched us for a while, I am relatively new to true crime and looking into all these cases. I didn't know about this. When I started reading and researching and watching stuff on this, I was like, "Oh my gosh."
That video of her dumping that video of her dumping the baby in the trash bag in the dumpster went viral.
It's scary knowing that there's a child in there and the way that it was done. Like I said, there's a way to set a bag in a dumpster. None of them would have been okay. But set a bag in the dumpster, and then there's literally huck it in. And she hucked it in. Hucked it in the dumpster. That baby
literally was, like, meant to survive. Like, meant to be here.
I agree.
Because it was in a bag for so long. How did it...
was.
How?
Yeah.
Like, how? There were so many factors. The cold, the wet, the no air, the throwing it in, the people stepping in there, people throwing trash in there all day.
I know.
Like, how? It's literally a miracle.
I know.
That baby is alive.
Yep. I know it. It is. Because, and remember, there was a hair tie around the top.
Covering
the air,
it
you
was
guys.
sealed.
5 hours. 5 hours.
I wonder if it got tore a little bit when she threw it in or something.
I don't know, but I would love your guys' opinion on this. Now, when it comes to the Alexee Trevizo case, I just wish I had more evidence. If I had evidence that she knew she was pregnant, and the pictures don't make me feel that way just because I have seen the ghost pregnancies or phantom pregnancies or whatever, where tons of women have no idea that they're pregnant, like professional athlete women even, and they thought they had to doo-doo, and out comes a baby. So with all that evidence, like, I need to see some evidence that she knew. Like with Alexis Avila, we see evidence she knew. With Alexee, we haven't yet.
But the one thing, which we'll go ahead and get into Alexee now, because I'm talking about Alexee.
Oh, you are?
Well, yeah, because she just had a court hearing.
Oh, okay.
You already knew that.
I didn't.
We talked about this.
It's news to me.
So,